Assalamu alaikum everybody, welcome back to the brand new video. Today I'm going to be documenting and telling you about my experience with purchasing a house with Gatehouse Bank in the UK using their HPP plan. So alhamdulillah, purchased the property through Gatehouse Bank, which are the Sharia compliant halal alternative to your traditional interest mortgages. So yeah, before I begin this video, right, haven't been paid by Gatehouse, haven't been paid by anyone to make this video. I've just had a few people messaging me, explaining them about the process that I had with Gatehouse Bank and what they'd recommend. So I thought I'll make a video on this, because there's probably more Muslims out there who need this help and advice when it comes to purchasing a property. So yeah, let's begin. Bismillah. So the first thing I'd recommend everyone to do before you even think about buying a house is first use Gatehouse Bank's home finance calculator to figure out how much finance you can have in the first place. So it's a nice and simple calculator they provide. So for example, if you're a one person applicant or two person, you can add your salaries into here. And also another thing I want to note is that if you guys, after watching this video, want specific help, then you can schedule time with me directly on Minect. I'll leave the link below. So yeah, do schedule time with me or send me a message there if you want to get more information. So yeah, let's put, like, for example, a 60,000 salary person on one has, and then you can fill in credit commitment. So do you have like a car on finance, interest free inshallah, monthly credit or store card payments, other monthly commitments like the gym, do not include usual household expenditures, gas, electric, food, cost for childcare maintenance. So it's probably like gym, student loans, that sort of thing. So say you got 60,000 income before tax. You got yourself a car on interest free, you're paying about £200 a month. Other monthly commitments that you have, I don't know, maybe you got a student loan, so you can put about and if you have like mobile bills, that sort of thing, let's put like £200 as well. So once we press calculate, we can see based on this information. Now this is obviously just the basic calculator, right? Once you actually start the process, your advisor would go through everything with you, like step by step, and go through all the potential expenses. So you need to list all of them out to them. So based on what I've entered here for a £60,000 salary, right? With these expenses here, the total amount of finance they'd give you is £248,400. Now, once you know what your total amount of finance Gatehouse Bank will give you is, you can then move on to the second calculator, which is how much will it cost you, right? And obviously I'd recommend home purchase. Total amount of finance, how much was that? 248,400. So 248,400. You do acquisition and rent because one day you want to own your property, and then you do 25 years. You can do 25, 30, however many years you want to do, but probably the less years the better, so there's less money you're going to be paying in the long term. And then you go ahead and press calculate, right? So based on a £248,400 loan they'd give you, right, over a 25-year term, if you ignore the green fixed ones, so this you can only do if the property you're purchasing has an energy rating of A or B. So probably in most new builds that'll be the case, or like some high-tech solar panel house. So for the vast majority of people, these won't be applicable, but the ones that will be applicable are the ones here, where you're fixed for 2 years or you're fixed for 5 years, that sort of thing. So say you want to be fixed for 2 years, right? Your monthly payments will be £1,598. That's if you put a 35% deposit. So you see here, maximum finance to value. This price here is only for 65% loan that you take out, and that means you'd give a 35% deposit. And obviously, the more loan you take percentage here, this is a 20% deposit. You'd have to pay more, 1,614. It looks like they have got rid of their 10% one actually, because I'm pretty sure previously when I did see a 10% option. So now they've only got 35% and a 20% deposit. And then obviously we've got fixed for 5 years as well. So if you fix for 5 years, the rate drops by about 0.04%. You pay 1,592. So I'd say this stage is very critically important before you even think about purchasing a house, because first it's important to know how much Gatehouse Bank will be willing to give you, and then obviously to know how much you'll be paying each month afterwards for basically the majority of your life to the bank, based on how much deposit you give. So obviously, the lower the rate, the rental rate, the better. And the only way you can do that is if you give that 35% deposit, so you can get on the rate of 5.99%. Because if you don't, then it's 6.09%, so 0.1% more, which is about what, like an extra like £20 a month they'll take from you. So that's one thing to consider. And then the other thing to consider is whether you want to be fixed for 2 years or fixed for 5 years. If you're fixing for 2 years, then you're inshallah, the Bank of England's interest rates drop. So then in turn, the rental rate for Gatehouse Bank should decrease as well. So keep that in mind as well, and plan accordingly. And consult like a mortgage expert if needs be, or if you're like me, I just did this all by myself. Using the calculators and doing some quick maths in my head on like how much I can borrow, what amount I'm comfortable paying each month back, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you've now managed to find yourself a product, you also need to know that there is an application fee. So as soon as you start the process, you'll have to pay £149, and there's a product fee that you pay at the end of £499 as well. So there are costs involved. So once you've realised, you can take a £248,000 loan, then you can think about if you were to buy a house with a 20% deposit, what's that, about 50, or let's say 50k. So you can buy probably a 300k house with a 248,000 loan, and then the rest you pay as a deposit. So you cap yourself at like a £300 house, and then you'd move on to the next stage, which is first up. I believe Gatehouse Bank's finance offers are have a validity of 4 months, right? 4 months, and then you can get a 1 month extension in case of any extenuating circumstances. So that's that. So once you've actually done all that at the start, you've done your calculators, you figured out how much you can get and how much you will need to pay going forward, then you can actually think about starting the actual process. Because there's no point starting the process if you don't know how much things are going to cost you, because that's the most important at the end of the day. So first stage is completing the online decision in principle. So the online decision in principle, very straightforward. You just go on Gatehouse Bank's website. It's basically like the calculator here, and then look here where you can see get a decision in principle. So basically use the data here, ask a couple more questions, takes about 10 minutes, and then you can get a decision in principle. Now once you've got your decision in principle, right, they'll probably ask you to send in a couple more details, or you can follow this step here. So what I did in my one was I got the decision in principle first, and then I went around, viewing houses to see which one fits my criteria and fits within the budget and with like the amount the bank will give. So yeah, I was basically here. I found a property and then I agreed a price with the seller. And it was only after my offer got confirmed did I actually call up Gatehouse Bank to say that okay, I've got an offer accepted. This is my decision in principle, and then you actually have to start the whole application process with them. They have a call with you, they go through everything with you, and then you need to send over your I think it's like sales memorandum, and then like your solicitor details. I think might be later, but you do need to start sending some details to them, documents like payslips, and all that stuff as well. So yeah, what I'd really recommend on that stage, right, is to really make sure you have your finances in check, because the Gatehouse Bank, right, they're quite strict and they do scrutinize every single transaction that you'll have in your bank account. So, for example, if you sent money to someone, they'll ask, why did you do that? If you receive money from someone, they'll ask, why did you do that? And they need 6 months of payslips, 6 months of bank statements as well. So if you're looking to get money, help from someone, I'd probably recommend doing it 6 months in advance. So then that way they won't check that statement because, it's too far behind in the future. So I'd recommend that. You'd also need to send like an employment letter to say that you're like employed, bank statement. I think they took my insurance number, all the normal stuff basically. And this probably took about probably a good couple of weeks, because initially what happens is you pay for the property valuation as well. So that takes 2 weeks or a week for them to organize and do. And then you have to send all your documents, and then the bank's advisor who you're assigned to sends it over to the bank's underwriting team. And the underwriters are the ones that literally like check everything. So if you sent money to someone to play football with, they'll ask you, oh, why did you send this £3 to this person on this date from this account? So yeah, it's very important that you have your finances sorted before you start this process. So yeah, just be careful of doing any dodgy transactions that may come back and haunt you during this process. So once you've done all that, you've paid for your property valuation, you then need to wait for Gatehouse Bank to make your finance offer. And I waited until I actually got the finance offer before I instructed my solicitors to start their conveyancing process. So the solicitors I used was White Horse Law and Notary Public, based in East London. I wanted to use one in my local area, but unfortunately none of them support Islamic finance, conveyancing, or home purchase, whatever you want to call it. So I had to use one of Gatehouse Bank's or a recommended solicitors. So White Horse Law came as the cheapest as well. I called up all the solicitors that cover Gatehouse Bank and have partnered with, and White Horse Law came back as the cheapest as well. And the reviews look good as well on Google reviews. So I went ahead with them. So it was only after I got the finance offer did I tell the solicitors that I paid their deposit as well and told them to start their searches. And the only other thing to note, right, this period is a bit stressful because the bank do take a long time for the communication and to get things done. So I did have my seller messaging me saying, oh, they haven't heard from my bank or my solicitors, like, why is it taking so long? So you need to understand before you start this whole process that Gatehouse Bank do have a reputation of being quite slow with their communication, with their checks and stuff. Even if you look online now on the Google reviews, you see that their communication and lead times is one of the problems that a lot of people do flag. So then, yeah, once you're on the finance offer stage, you start your instructions with your solicitors. You tell them to start the whole process, including searches, local searches, and then making sure everything's legit. Also, if you're buying solo, you need to sign, and you're living with someone, you might need to sign an occupiers and consent form. If you're doing any gifted deposit, you have to sign a form for that as well. So yeah, bear in mind that as well. You can obviously do it with a joint person or two people application, but it's additional paperwork and administration you need to do. So yeah, do consider that as well. And then obviously this period here, after they give the finance offer, right, you do have 4 months, I believe, 4 months to get everything sorted by. And you do have a 1 month extension instead of in case of any extenuating circumstances. So what happened with me in my purchase was that actually, unfortunately, someone died on the chain, right? And then one of the properties on the end of the chain went on probate process. So everything was delayed for a good couple of weeks, couple of months. And my finance offer was actually about to expire. So I actually did have to apply for the old extenuating circumstance 1 month extension. So that was quite straightforward. You just email your advisor telling them about the situation, and then you'll get approved for an extension of only 1 month. And it's very important that you do complete it within the 4 months, because if you don't, then you'll have to restart and get a whole new finance offer. So you'll have to pay the product fee and that stuff again. So yeah, very important. You try your best to get things done in those couple of months. So once you've done all of that, right, it's basically comes the end. But I have to tell you that my honest experience with Gatehouse was very stressful, I have to say. They were very slow on communicating. I must have sent some days near the end of the process and during the middle, I sent multiple emails during the day and during a couple of days as well, and I just get no responses. The phone lines would be quite hard to get in touch with someone as well. And the one thing is that the bank have their own solicitors who do their paperwork for them, and the bank solicitors are actually quite slow as well. So a couple of times my solicitors, White Horse Law, would send out requests or chase up on the bank solicitors, and it'll be a week and they haven't heard anything, and it just delays everything, because then you've got the seller getting nervous as well because their solicitors haven't heard anything. So yeah, do keep that in mind as well. And the other thing I'd mention is that not all solicitors cover Gatehouse Bank's home purchase plans. So for example, what my seller had to do was, because he was using someone in the local area as his solicitor, they were like, yeah, we don't support Gatehouse Bank Islamic home purchase plan conveyancing. We don't have experience in that, so you'll need to find a new solicitor. So alhamdulillah, my seller guy was really nice, and then he had to find, well, I helped him find a new solicitor in London who supports like Gatehouse Bank. So that's one thing to note, that if you're in an area that's not London, you may find difficulty if your seller's solicitor doesn't support Sharia compliant finance, because then you'll have to convince like the seller as well to get a new solicitor, and pay those fees as well. So that's one thing to note about. Maybe it's important to be upfront with your seller when you're visiting the house that you'll be using Gatehouse Bank, and that they'll need like a different solicitor than usual. So that's that. And then also like I think a lot of it's just making sure you have all your documents up to date, on track. Like you don't have any like nothing that they can stop you or like delay things with, because it does get stressful near the end as well. Because even on like the date of completion, I literally completed on like deadline day in December. Like literally the last day it could have happened, it happened on that day, or like the final hour as well. Because what happens is the bank need to send money from the bank to the solicitors, and then your solicitors need to send it to whoever you're purchasing from solicitors as well to complete the whole transaction. So there was a bit of delay from the bank to send their money to my solicitors. Took a good couple of hours for it to reach my solicitor's account as well, because usually you'd think 2025 now, instant transactions should happen within less than a minute. So yeah, that's another thing to note, that be prepared for completion day drama, just like deadline day drama they do on Sky Sports News. And then yeah, once you've completed, basically you just go there, collect your keys, or get your estate agent to give you the keys as well. Yeah, so I think that might actually be everything. Let me just see if I've missed anything else, because the only thing I can mention to you guys about Gatehouse Bank, they're a bit slow, right? They're a bit slow to get everything done, and especially if your seller's like in a rush, they could get a bit frustrated, and might pull out, or you don't know what can happen. So yeah, all I say is you need a lot of patience with Gatehouse Bank and this whole process, because it does take quite a while. So for example, for me, right, it took from June to December, which is like a whole 6 months. It took half a year to get this whole thing sorted. So be prepared. It does take time, but inshallah it will be worth it once you get your house. So yeah, we can see here the home finance application process, Gatehouse Bank. So you complete the DIP, and then you have to complete the application form, and then send over the documents, and then you have to complete these. I don't know what these are for expats, I think, and then submit to customer for signature. Customer signs DocuSign, automatically received by Gatehouse. So yeah, once you get your finance offer, you'll have to sign it online on DocuSign. And then yeah, that's like official, and you've already paid already. So you have to pay the valuation fee as well. So Gatehouse Bank do that. And the good thing with Gatehouse Bank is they don't make you pay for their solicitor usage. So the bank got their own solicitors, and they pay them themselves. So you don't have to pay for that, which is quite nice. And then yeah, once you got your offer, you sign it, and then you instruct your legals. So don't instruct your legals or your solicitors before you got your finance offer, would be my recommendation to everyone, because if you instruct your legal solicitors, right, and you don't get a finance offer for some reason, then you just lost money for absolutely no reason. So wait until you got the finance offer before starting the legal work, such as the searches and stuff. They do take a month for the searches to come back, so yeah, do be patient with that as well. And then they need to continue doing the rest of their works as well. So yeah, guys, so I hope you found this insightful. If you have any questions on Gatehouse Bank, or if you want specifics, then schedule some time with me on Minect. Links below, and I'll be happy to help and talk about my experience a bit more. But like, to summarize, what I'd say is, alhamdulillah, it's worth it, but you need patience, and you need to understand Gatehouse Bank are very slow with the communication and getting things done. The bank solicitors, the underwriters, they take a while to do everything. So yeah, there can be some nervy moments where it's like, oh, deadline day's approaching, like, is everything going to be done? That's going to happen. So yeah, just be ready for that. And basically, Google Gemini does do a good summary of what needs to be done. But these ones are incorrect, because you need 6 months. So 6 month statements, 6 month statements. And then obviously you have to have your proof of deposit in your bank account as well. So I'll probably recommend getting that all sorted before even applying that, making sure you have the deposit fund in your bank account. And then yeah, solicitor, you can pay them as well, separate fee you have to pay. And then also think about like stamp duty as well when you're purchasing property, if you're a first time buyer or not as well. There's like stamp duty calculators out there that you can use to see how much stamp duty you pay. So yeah, and then obviously with Gatehouse Bank, once you complete the 2 years, you'll end up on their standard variable rate, which is currently 8%. So yeah, probably whatever happens in 2 years' time, you can like get into another fixed one, or fixed for 2 years, fixed for 5 years. But the one thing with the standard variable rate is once you're on that, you can make like unlimited over payments, so early redemption, right? So here in these fixed ones, right, I think it's only 10% of the house property you can actually do. So early redemption charge, yeah, look, or you can only do 10% of the outstanding finance balance. So yeah, for example, how much where's the calculator on this one? So for 248, they allow you to overpay 24,840 in the first year if you were to do the 2 year fixed as well. So yeah, that's another thing to note in mind if you're someone that wants to pay off large chunks. Could be worth for you to do the fix for 2 years and then pay a big sum on year 3. Obviously up to personal preference and how things work for you. But yeah, guys, I hope you found this video informative on Gatehouse Bank and my honest experience with Gatehouse. Positive, alhamdulillah, because I managed to complete it, but stressful. A lot of patience needed. You need to be good at a bit of project management skills, communication, getting things done, and also chasing up people as well to make sure they do their job as well. So I'll leave it at that. As mentioned, any questions, let me know below, and also schedule time, connect with me directly, and I'll be more than happy to help. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and peace.